In today's video, I want to talk about the possibility of Dauntless on the PlayStation 4 getting crossplay. It's a possibility. It's not going to happen at launch, but it looks like the developers in Phoenix Labs haven't completely closed the door and the possibility on crossplay being something that they look into in the future. In fact, Dauntless being a unified game on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, Nintendo Switch, and every other platform that they plan to release the game on, that's probably their idea into the future. Also, E3 is coming up, and while Sony and EA won't be having their traditional conferences, there are still going to be major publishers present at the event, and one of those publishers is going to be THQ Nordic. They've been doing a great job in revitalizing a lot of franchises. They have some unique IPs in the works, such as Biomutant, but it looks like come E3, they're also going to show off some new games, specifically two games that look to be the long-awaited returns of franchise, so I do want to speculate on what that might be. There are a lot of games and IPs that THQ Nordic owns that I would love to see new iterations of, whether that be a remastered game, whether that be a completely new game. There's a lot of potential with everything THQ Nordic has to offer at this point. Also, we've been talking a lot about how Capcom has done an incredible job recently with games like Monster Hunter World, Resident Evil 2, and Devil May Cry 5. Unfortunately, as far as 2019 is concerned, it looks like Monster Hunter World Iceborne is Capcom's only major release this fiscal year, and that ends March of 2020, so that to me points to the fact that Capcom is really moving on into working on games for the next generation platforms, and we seemingly already did have an idea on that. We'll talk that at the end of this video. First up, let's talk all about Dauntless. Not a game that I really have to sell you on given the fact that it is free to play, but nonetheless, it's coming May 21st. However, with these multiplayer-centric games, the question always remains, is crossplay going to be something they're going to look at in the future? With games like Rocket League having crossplay, games like Fortnite, the floodgates are certainly being open for crossplay being something implemented into a lot more games in the future. Could Dauntless have it in the future? Well, it looks like Phoenix Labs is very keen on the idea. They specifically noted under an initiative labeled One Dauntless on the game's official website, quote, "We think that Slayers should be able to play together no matter what they're playing from, be it Xbox One, PlayStation 4, or the Epic Game Store. That's why we're hard at work making One Dauntless a reality." Come May 21st, if you're gonna play the game, unfortunately, you won't be able to play with people on, say, the Xbox One if you're playing on PlayStation 4. And vice versa. However, I think in the future, Dauntless having cross-platform play would be a great benefit. Any game that gets cross-platform play at this point, because it is such a unique element, yes, a couple games have it, but if you can say our game has cross-platform play, that's already a very unique cap you get to wear, and that's a very good way to promote your game as well. Is that going to be make it or break it for Dauntless? Probably not. But given the fact that this game does have its inherent level of skepticism due to all of the comparisons with Monster Hunter and whatever the case may be, you really do need those unique elements that make it stand out and make it a game that people want to play. Given that it is a free-to-play offering, I do think people are just going to have the inherent willingness to play the game, because you look at the game, it's a captivating enough game in terms of presentation and gameplay style that I do think is going to cater towards a console audience. And I do think people will check it out, but as far as cross-platform play, hopefully that's something that's out before the end of the year. That might be wishful thinking on my part, but Phoenix Labs is definitely keen on the idea of bringing cross-platform play to Dauntless on all platforms. And do bear in mind, while it's coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and PC on May 21st, the idea is to bring this to a wide variety of different platforms, including Nintendo Switch and mobile platforms at that, but we'll see how all of that pans out. Okay, moving on from that, we are coming up on E3, and it seems like the excitement level really isn't there, and I do point that towards Sony being absent, given that the PlayStation 4 has without a doubt been the most successful console of this generation. The console manufacturer and major publisher for that platform not being at E3 is going to hurt the excitement level a little bit, but you're still going to have some incredible game announcements. I'm sure Ubisoft is prepping up some cool stuff. EA is going to be there, although not without their own conference. I'm sure we'll see gameplay of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I'm sure Microsoft is going to announce some cool stuff, and I'm excited to see what they're going to bring to the table. And all of the other publishers that are going to be there, one being THQ Nordic, and a report is circulating that they are bringing two unannounced games from beloved franchises to E3 2019. Specifically, All Gamers has shared screenshots of an email sent out by THQ Nordic, and the developer noted a couple of things, saying that, quote, "The long-awaited return of a galactically beloved game and franchise and a new vision of a beloved game and franchise." Now, they weren't specific, but the fact that they're saying that it's a return, this makes me think that it's a franchise that has been around for a little bit, and a franchise that has had a couple of iterations and games into it. Well, I was hoping let's see something Kingdoms of Amalur related, whether it be a remaster or a sequel to that game. I'm going to be hitting that Kingdoms of Amalur drum dumb because I think that's a game that could do so well in 2019. Yes, it was a colossal train wreck when it released, but that was just from a financial standpoint. If you actually assess the game for what it is an awesome open world RPG, and I think a remastered version of that game would do so well from a commercial standpoint. And maybe we'll see the announcement of a remaster. I don't think we'll see the announcement of a sequel, which is a little bit of a bummer, but THQ Nordic again has so many compelling IPs at their disposal. We could see the revival of Time Splitters. Red Faction came back with the Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition last year. And usually when we see some sort of remastered edition, that does open the door to another game being released sometime in the future. Red Faction has been MIA for quite a while, so to see the return of that franchise with a brand new game, I think that would get people very excited. Whether these games be PlayStation 4 titles or next-gen titles, that question remains to be seen, but I do believe that they would be current-gen games because we still have another year and a half, and THQ Nordic hasn't been one of those publishers that announce a game so far ahead of time and then they never come out. You know, not that typical Square Enix stuff, but nonetheless, I'm excited to see what THQ Nordic can bring to the table. And again, while they haven't been bringing out blockbuster mainstream successes, games like Darksiders 3 did relatively well and it broke even, and now that game's making a profit. They've done some pretty cool remasters. They've got Biomutant in the works, and they actually have 35 unannounced games in development, and 2 of which are going to make their way to E3 2019. I imagine there are going to be other games as well, but 2 titles from beloved franchise really at the helm for E3 2019 coming from THQ Nordic. Again, could be Time Splitters, could be Red Faction, but they've got a gigantic library of IPs to work with. Alright, and lastly, while Capcom has had an awesome generation with releases like MH World, Resident Evil 2, Devil May Cry 5, Mega Man 11, I can go on and on. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy just came out. It looks like as far as 2019 and the 2020 fiscal year is concerned, Monster Hunter World Iceborne is Capcom's only major release, which is a little bit of a disappointment. After the consecutive big budget releases from Capcom, I was hoping we'd see some more games, but here's what they said. Quote, "It is a reality that development cycles are trending longer for games developed to a world-leading standard." That was coming from Capcom president Haruhiro Sugimoto. They also noted that Monster Hunter World Iceborne is Capcom's only release for the entire fiscal year, and fiscal year 2020 is going to wrap up at the end of March of 2020, so that's a pretty long window. Now, they did note it's the only major release, but if they're considering Iceborne the only major release, and Iceborne at the end of the day is just an expansion, then I imagine we're not going to be getting any new big budget games. However, there's always the potential for some collections. Capcom, much like THQ Nordic, they have a plethora of IPs at their disposal. Yes, they brought out the Mega Man X collection, but there's a lot more you could do with Mega Man. Man, I would kill for a Mega Man Battle Network collection. All of those games in one collection, sign me up for that. Anything Mega Man related, I'd be all over. They've got other IPs at their disposal as well. They could re-release a lot of games. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of that, but hey, nobody's holding a gun to your head forcing you to buy them. Some people would be all over them, and it is a good way for Capcom to gauge the interest level of certain franchises before they move on and do a big budget production of a new game in that said franchise. I don't think it's a bad idea. And Capcom has really found a sweet spot in releasing older games, but also releasing new compelling games. They've just been on fire for the last year or two. And if they want to take the majority of this fiscal year off, hey, we're still going to get MH World Iceborne, and that's going to offer us a ton of content. And it's said that Iceborne is going to rival the content in the base game, which sounds absolutely crazy. But yeah, if you've already invested, what, north of 200 hours in Monster Hunter World, there's going to be a lot of reason to come back with Iceborne, and that is going to be their major release of the year. By the way, Monster Hunter World readily available now for $20. Iceborne is going to come with a complete version where you get the base game and the expansion for $60, so that's something to look at as well. But as far as new games go, don't expect a new Resident Evil, don't expect Dragon's Dogma 2, don't expect anything like that until later in 2020. I'm sure they're prepping up some stuff with the PlayStation 5 and next Xbox, but that's going to be a ways away. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, Phoenix Labs is looking at Dauntless having crossplay, not going to happen at launch, but hopefully by the end of 2019, everybody on every platform can play Dauntless together. That would be awesome for that multiplayer game. THQ Nordic is bringing 2 unannounced games from beloved franchises to E3 2019. Could it be a new Time Splitters? Could it be a new Red Faction? That's just speculation. But we'll keep you guys posted as we hear more. And Monster Hunter World Iceborne looks to be Capcom's only major release this fiscal year. Could be getting more collections, compilations, things like that. But as far as major releases, that's all we have to look forward to until the end of March of 2020. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.